Shout out to LTTV. Shout out to LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Salute the LTTV in the building, man.
Shout out to brother LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Nobody's LT, and I'm certainly not implying that.
Shout out to LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Salute the LTTV in the building, man.
Shout out to brother LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Nobody's LT, and I'm certainly not implying that.
LT cooking your ass. LTTV, whoever his channel name is called. I'm sorry for being the dusty. How about that?
If y'all want to keep up with the news and this shit be going on, subscribe to LTTV. That nigga know everything about everything. I ain't gonna lie.
Frederick and myself grew up in the same household, pissed in the same bed, share the same underwear. Frederick is not from North Dakota. He's from Philly. Frederick is my little cousin. He's about 32 years old, 33. He's not 28, but he's not from North Dakota. He never been to North Dakota. He's a Philly nigga. I'm assuming the only reason why he said he's from North Dakota instead of Philly because I feel like a lot of niggas from Philly kick him out of town after his brother sexual assault case. Nobody in Philly really fuck with him after that situation because his whole family is a freak boy. His whole family is a freak boy. Frederick is my little cousin. The house was always dirty. His sister used to cook. I don't know whoever that girl on his YouTube is, but that's not his sister. Not family. His dad ran from the United States because it was too much money that his dad has owed to the IRS. I decided to move to North Dakota because one of my uncle at the time was moving to North Dakota from Philly. I came home and there go Frederick's sister in our living room. I wasn't aware that she was already living in North Dakota because the last time I seen Frederick and his family when I was 8, 9 years old. Because after that situation, I had lived with them for like 3 years. After that 3 years living with them, I had moved out. We no longer had kept in touch. When I got back to Philly, I didn't know where it was. The only reason I'm making this video is because I'm like, you expose people every single day when you have the most darkest secret in your closet. Your sister is homeless.
Yeah, LTTV, Blunt Talk with LT, back at it with another video. Now, chat, this right here is filthy work. This is nasty work. This is supposed to be your cousin, bruh? I was sent an email with this video. Also CC'd in the email was Afro Think Tank and I believe somebody else. The video is currently up on his channel. I seen this at first and I'm like, I put a lot of the information from the video. I chopped it up because he takes a long time to get to the point. So I chopped it up. I put a lot of the bulk of the information in the intro so y'all don't have to wait through this 20 minutes of suffering. But nonetheless, this is supposed to be your family, your cousin. I know Poetik Flakko's getting cooked right now. He's being exposed for various things he said in the past, the Nick Fuentes comments, the glazing, a bunch of shit that pointed out, and then Jew Almighty debated him after he made various videos calling him out for his coon past and some of his flip-flopping activities. So it's been a pretty rough week for Poetik Flakko, but now his cousin of all people, his alleged cousin, is coming out and throwing more dirt on his name. Now, I was interested in listening to the details and the consistency of his story, and a lot of this shit does not add up, to keep it a stack. Now, I'm not out here just caping for Poetik Flakko because he's called into my show a few times. That's not what we're doing out here. Shout out to Flakko. We're keeping it objective. If there's somewhere to cook, there's somewhere to cook. I personally do not like when family members come for the artist or the podcaster or the celebrity or whatever. Like I've cooked 50 Son in the past for being an ungrateful grown ass man still asking for child support at 26 or whatever the fuck it was, just completely dusting it up. But other folks that take shots at the celebrity as family, trying to leech off of their fame, they're only relevant because you're related to them. That's the only reason why we give a fuck to listen to your videos. This guy has some videos with single-digit views. Like, I'm talking about 5 to 6 views. I'm like, are you even related? When I look at stuff like this, people want to sensationalize these things so quick. I'm like, you provided no documentation, nothing to prove any of the things you're saying. We don't know that you're actually family. We got to just look at you and surmise that you guys are actually related just off of looks. You didn't substantiate anything you brought to the table. Now let's get into this, chat.
You do not take care of her at all. Your brother had a crazy case on him.
Now we know that already from Point and Shoot. Point and Shoot tried to label David M. Jalla as Poetik Flakko before Poetik Flakko outed himself and said his name is Frederick Jalla. So that was his brother's case. That we already know that. That's an old narrative. We already dealt with that.
He got deported, and your dad owed the U.S. government in back taxes $300,000. He ended up running away because he did not want to go to prison. Frederick is a liar. Like, all he does is lie. And he got some weird.
Now, Flakko said his father went back to Liberia for whatever purpose that he went back to Liberia for. I don't know the reason why he went back to Liberia. He could be telling the truth here. He could be completely fabricating a tale. He didn't bring any evidence to substantiate his claims. He's just saying things.
Weird cases. Frederick got some weird cases. My little cousin, Poetik Flakko.
Okay, so that was a lot of the allegations, because there's nothing really here. You got to understand, when a family member comes for another family member who is a public figure, there has to be dire circumstances. Like, there has to be a legit reason. Like, Flakko needs to be like diddling kids. Pause, hold up. That sounds horrible. You don't need to be doing nothing. The fuck? What kind of weird misspeaking was that? Like, you would have to be doing something like that for a family member to call you out. You have to be like a serial killer or something heinous, something disgusting, where a family member's like, oh, we're not tolerating this. We don't stand by this. Outside of that, it's like, bro, what are we doing out here? This is just screams jealousy, envy, and I want a piece of the money. That's what it sounds like. No, the show just started. I grouped the best parts so people that are impatient, they got a lot of this. He doesn't really say much here, but we're gonna get into it. Yeah, that's facts. Smash the likes button. Hit these likes, chat. Get these likes up. These likes, they always look rather dusty at the beginning of the show. Like, where's the support, chat? Let's get these likes up. And someone saying, how am I being objective when Flakko is your friend? Look, nigga, I talked to Flakko like twice in life, bruh. Friend is a strong term. Cool with Flakko. Spoke to him twice in life. No reason to hate on him. No reason to shit on him. We are cool. We are cordial. We can speak on things. If he wants to call in, we can have a good faith conversation. I'm just dealing with the facts as it is.
Also known as Frederick Jala. Been in the headline today. The only reason why I decided to show those information because I feel like we have to get something clear out with Poetik Flakko, also known as Frederick Jala. Frederick is my little cousin. He's about 32 years old, 33. I could say 32, about to be 33. He's not 28. He's not 26. He's not 27.
Now, it is known that a lot of folks get on YouTube and create characters. They fabricate tales. They lie about their age. A lot of folks lie about their age. But you don't bring any evidence to substantiate any of your claims. I'm pretty sure Flakko had to pull up a yearbook of himself to show himself as Frederick Jala to prove that he wasn't David M. Jala when Point and Shoot was putting the rape allegations on Flakko. So the age thing, I don't think it's so much in question, nor do I really care. But if he's lying about his age, then it just kind of brings into something in question. Why lie about that? But I don't. This is not proof of anything. This is just an allegation.
He's 32, going to be 33. Frederick and myself grew up in the same household, pissed in the same bed, share the same underwear.
Bro, you guys grew up in the same household, pissed in the same bed, shared the same underwear, and yet you are here online disparaging him for a smidgen of clout. Bro, come on.
Get dude off the screen.
Oh, God.
Get dude off the screen, man. Who the fuck is that, bitch?
Like his whole reason, fuck it, I'm spoiling the ending. Nah, actually, I can't do it. I can't do it. Y'all have to listen to his reasoning and why he's doing this.
I'm literally telling you. Frederick is not from North Dakota. He's from Philly. I don't know.
We've heard this before. We've heard this before on No Jumper when he was getting interrogated. And I think Point and Shoot pointed that out as well. We've heard these allegations before.
Why he claimed North Dakota, but he's not from North Dakota. He never been to North Dakota. He's a Philly nigga. I'm assuming the only reason why he said he's from North Dakota instead of Philly, because I feel like a lot of niggas from Philly kick him out of town after his brother sexual assault case. Maybe that's why he claimed he's from North Dakota, because nobody in Philly really fuck with him after that situation, because his whole family is a freak boy. His whole family is a freak boy.
Sir, once again.
Nobody in Philly really fuck with him after that situation, because his whole family is a freak boy. His whole family is a freak boy.
Bro forgot that the introduction, he introduced himself as Flakko's family, as Flakko's cousin. Now his own family's a freak boy.
Brother,
Bro, you're part of the family. You are disparaging your family for clicks and views. This is not, oh, Flakko exposes folks. Yeah, in the media, from shit he finds online. He doesn't know these folks personally. These are things that they attach to their digital footprint, fuck up, and then Flakko go. Actually, no, Flakko also plays internet detective, and he called out somebody and attached him to a murder. He also did that. So that was filthy work by Flakko. But yeah, let's get into this. But that's not the same. Let's get back into this. Yeah, all those black spots that you see pop up, that is his video. That is not my video. That is not my internet. That is nothing going on technically on my side. I left that all in. I didn't cut it up and clean up his video. I just wanted y'all to see what type of quality he was bringing to the internet.
We all used to be in Philly. Our family had like, when I tell you our family had like a whole 6-block radius of all Africans. That's how our aunties and our uncle live in Philly. Because when we got to Philly, it was all our aunties and uncles and relatives. We all live in the same neighborhood. I live probably 4 doors down from Frederick. I remember at the age of 7, 8, every Saturday, used to get up, go straight down to their house, skateboard, roller skate all day. From there, we went to the park, Fentwood Park in Philly. We used to live on DuPont, around DuPont in Philly, in DuPont, not far from Darby.
What the hell was that?
You from Darby, you know what goes on in Darby. So, but when I had moved in with Frederick and his family, it was chaotic. Chaotic.
He keeps saying, yo, that's your cousin. It's your cousin. His family, your family, same thing, bro.
His dad wasn't a really serious kind of person. He's my uncle. I'm not here to talk bad about my uncle, but you have to understand it was like 5 kids. He's my uncle. I'm not here to talk bad about my uncle. But at the time, it was like 5 young kids living in a house with an adult man who really didn't care about his kids at all. That's how it was. Frederick's dad didn't really care about him or the family. His dad used to...
Yo, what type? This makes no damn sense. 1 second ago, you said you're not trying to talk bad about him. Now he doesn't give a fuck about the kids, but he's taking in you at the same time. Okay, whatever, man.
Leave their house and have us just run around, act wild. That's how we was. We used to leave the house around 9 a.m. in the morning, don't come back home until 10 p.m. And his dad would never once say, hey, where were you guys? The memories that I have living with Frederick and his family was very, very vivid. I'm 33 now as well. So when I was the age of 7, 8, that's when I moved in with them. There was pretty decent family, to be honest. The house was always dirty. His sister used to cook.
It's a pretty decent family. The house was always dirty. Yo, what the hell?
8, that's when I moved in with them.
7 or 8 when he moved in.
There was pretty decent family, to be honest. The house was always dirty. His sister used to cook. Speaking of his sister, I don't know whoever that girl on his YouTube is, but that's not his sister. His sister's real name is Jala.
Now, what do y'all notice there? He doxed his sister for some confusing reason, but obviously I slapped in an edit. All y'all heard was, and then Jala, y'all know the last name. But I edited that out. On his video, if y'all go to his channel, he's just doxing and throwing around names. I guess that is the only proof that he has any type of connection or knows them, the fact that he knows his sister's name, allegedly, because I don't know his sister's name to confirm that's his actual sister's name. But
that's his sister name. Whoever that other girl is on his YouTube channel is not his sister. I don't know who that girl is. Never met her in my life. Not family. Not family at all. I promise you that. Fast forward, after 3 years living with Frederick and his family, I moved to New York. I had moved to New York with my family. I went back to Philly. When I went back to Philly, Frederick and his family was no longer there. What I remember what happened with Frederick and his family was his dad was only like his father ran from the United States because it was too much money that his dad has owed to the IRS. So that's why I remember about why they had left. Because I knew his dad bought a plane ticket and ran out the United States. And it been good 30 years his dad been out the United States. Bought a plane ticket and ran out the United States. And it been good 30 years his dad been out the United States.
Sir, the math is egregiously not mathing. How the fuck has he been out of the States for 30 years? You said Flakko's not 28, he's actually 32, 33. You are the same age, you're 33. You came and you stayed at his house from 7, 8 for 3 years. He was there. You're 33. He couldn't be gone for 30 years, bro. This doesn't make any fucking sense.
That nigga knew he was going to go to prison, so he ran. He bought a plane ticket and he left the United States. So that was...
You came back to Philly from New York and they were gone. You didn't know where they went. And then this was the story. This filled in everything. All right.
The last time I see my uncle. And then he just left his kids randomly. After his dad ran out the United States because he was owing so much money via taxes, I didn't know where Frederick went after that. So I live.
What is going on with this camera, bro? Like, is this some sort of DSLR with a recording limit? And this is like, what is this?
Philly for a few more years. After that, I graduated high school. After graduating high school, I decided to move to North Dakota because one of my uncle at the time was moving to North Dakota from Philly.
Hear this shit. Hear this shit. This is Flakko's cousin, alleged cousin. He said Flakko ain't from no damn North Dakota. He from Philly. This nigga moved from Philly to New York, came back to Philly. Flakko's gone. Where the fuck is Flakko at? Who knows? Maybe North Dakota. But this nigga moved to North Dakota. Why did he move to North Dakota of all places?
Philly. There was a lot of shit going on in Philly. There was no job. Everybody was fucking broke. Everybody. Me, at the time, I was doing music production. Going back from New York, going to Philly. So I was pretty stable. I used to do music production. I used to do beats.
Okay, so you're doing music production, going back and forth from New York to Philly. You're pretty stable. Okay. Why did you go to North Dakota?
So I used to travel a lot. When I was in New York, I was going through like depression, mental health situation because I was in like the music industry. Because being in the music industry, because I used to be in the music industry, so I went through a lot of depression, a lot of mental health, a lot of shit. I almost took my life a few times. So I needed to heal myself. And I just couldn't do Philly no more.
You were a stable producer, weren't you? Going back and forth, but then this caused you all sorts of, okay, let's go through it.
Because remember, I used to go back and forth from Philly to New York doing music production, and it was just a headache. One of our uncles was moving to North Dakota.
So now one of his uncles was moving to North Dakota. His family was all in Philly. They were all together in Philly. Now one of his uncles moved to North Dakota. He's moving to North Dakota.
So I decided to move to North Dakota as well. After I moved to North Dakota, surprisingly to my knowledge, Frederick's real sister, his older sister, was living in North Dakota as well.
Now, You go from Philly to New York. You come back to Philly. Flakko and his whole family is gone. You said what you said about his father going back to Liberia because he was escaping the IRS for $300,000, and the rest of the family was gone. You go with your uncle to North Dakota. You find Flakko's sister in North Dakota. You never ask about Flakko. You don't see Flakko, but you assume Flakko has never been to North Dakota. And to the point where you say he's lying, he never been there.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
So one day when I came home after like a long day of work at the studio, I came home and there go Fedrick's sister in our living room. I wasn't aware that she was already living in North Dakota because the last time I seen Fedrick and his family when I was 8, 9 years old. Because after that situation, I had lived with them for like 3 years. After that 3 years living with them, I had moved out. When I had moved out, that situation, I had lived with them for like 3 years.
Sorry,
when I was
chat.
8, 9 years old.
So he went from 7, 8, now he's 8, 9. But he stayed there for 3 years.
Because after that situation, I had lived with them for like 3 years. After that 3 years living with them, I had moved out. When I had moved out, we no longer had kept in touch. When I got back to Philly, I didn't know where it was. So the last time I seen his family was when I was a kid. So it was kind of surprising when I got home that day, out of nowhere, there go Fedrick, older sister, in my living room. It was a beautiful moment because she's the one who raised me, honestly. Cause I was kind of confused too, like why was she in North Dakota in the first place? Cause for me, honestly, I was kind of confused why she was in North Dakota in the first place because I wasn't expecting her to be in North Dakota, honestly. I was expecting her to be somewhere in New York, Philly, Baltimore. But somehow she ended up in North Dakota. So it was kind of awesome. She ended up staying at our condo for about a week. After a week of staying to our condo, we had realized that she was homeless. So she's being family, we had allowed her to move in with us. That was a fucking mistake. She was so irritating, combative, just argumentative the whole time she was living with us.
Combative and argumentative. You added a syllable to the first one and retracted one from the second. Okay, whatever, man.
That didn't last too long. And that was the last time I seen her. But during that time we were spending time with her, I never once asked her about Fedrick. I never knew why. The only person that I asked for was his brother.
So you didn't ask about Flakko at all. You asked about his brother who was arrested for...
Come on out, you rapist!
You asked about him, but you didn't ask about Flakko. But then you asserted in this video that Flakko has never been to North Dakota. He was not there. You didn't ask, bruh.
Because David was the one that got deported back to Africa after his sexual assault. So I don't know why I never asked for Fedrick, because growing up, Fedrick was just talking. He was annoying. Because growing up, he was just so fucking annoying. He talked.
Mind you, he spent 3 years in his household living with him from 7 or 8 years old onward.
A lot. The shit that Fedrick does now is
wait, what the fuck? I just realized that. He said that they shared the same underwear together and they pissed in the same bed. But my nigga, you got there at 7, 8 years old. What the fuck you mean? Shared the same underwear, pissed in the same bed.
Nasty bitch.
Bro, you a grown ass kid. You not an infant or a toddler at that age. What the hell is going on?
It's perfect lane for him because all he does is talk and gossip. Even as a child.
Bro, he's in the media. He's covering various stories. Somebody said it's time for Flakko to get exposed. He's exposed. All he does is expose other people. He's in the media. He's covering all these stories. He exposes a lot of people. He does a lot of fuck shit. I'm not here to beat Flakko's PR. Yes, he calls out people. But if you're going to call out Flakko, call him out the media way. For the shit that he's done. He's already getting exposed by Jew and Point and Shoot for the shit that he said in the past as he grifted. He was grifting for a fan base. He was doing whatever. He was glazing Nick Fuentes, glazing Saint the Sinner, glazing whoever to come on, to get on. Pause. I said, come on. What the hell? He worked for No Jumper. Bro was pro-black while working for No Jumper. He was in the Umar Johnson sector. Like, everything was grifting. He was all over the place trying to get a buzz grifting. You out here airing out family business. You're making the whole family look a mess, and you still haven't said anything specifically that would make Flakko look bad. You're just out here airing out family business. This is a terrible look.
All he did was just talk and gossip. It was kind of weird because Frederick never had once popped up in my head. I never once asked about Frederick because in my head was Frederick is probably somewhere yapping. I always knew Frederick was somewhere yapping. So, and I always knew Frederick would end up somewhere yapping because all he did was just yap and just gossip and just talk bunch of stupid shit. And it's a perfect lane for him. Like, what he does now is a perfect lane because growing up, we grew up in a gutter. Frederick and myself used to share the same shirt. Cause I remember going to church, we used to like rotate shirts, rotate pants sometimes. And I also have memory of his dad taking us shoe shopping. Holy shit. His dad used to take us to Payless, buy us some weird fucking shoes, like one of them girl shoes or dress up type shoes. That's what his dad used to make us wear. And we used to go to church. And even before we went to church, like we didn't even have really.
Survey said,
Nigga, please.
Once again, this is your uncle. This is your family right now you're disparaging. This doesn't make Flakko look bad. This makes you look bad. They took you in to live with them. You have your own parents. What happened there? You're leaving out those details, but now you're disparaging his dad and the quality of shoes you got from Payless. Bro, this is so pathetic. Flakko never crossed your mind when you were in North Dakota and you seen his sister. Now you see him on YouTube getting rich. You see him getting cooked for the grift. Bad week of press for Flakko. Now his own family's coming out here to try to stomp him. Bro, this is bad, bro. This.
Nothing. Like literally, we didn't have nothing. I remember Frederick used to give me his shirt and I used to take my pants, give it to Frederick. We used to rotate clothes. Because number one, my folks was already getting a divorce and Frederick's dad was barely making no money. He owned so much money to the government and he ran away.
Okay, so your parents were getting a divorce. That doesn't mean the bills stop, bro. That doesn't mean they stop taking care of their kid. That doesn't really explain why you weren't under their care and you were under Flakko's father's care, who you're disparaging now.
After he ran away, his older sister to take care of us.
That was another dox of the sister's name. I did my edits. I did a pristine job with the edits.
She took care of us at the house. used to cook for us, clean, do this, do that, go outside. Basically, we never had no responsibility. No responsibility at all. But I don't think it's okay. The only reason I'm making this video is because I'm like, you expose people every single day. When you have the most darkest secret in your closet, your sister is homeless, you do not take care of her at all. You bring in a fake girl on your show saying that's your sister. Mind you, that's not even nowhere close to your sister. Your brother.
Now, this is the very same guy that said it was a mistake to take in his sister. She was argumentative, combative, and all these things. He also, in this same speech, praised his sister for raising them, taking care of them, cooking for them. They were carefree at one point in time. Now he's saying that his sister's homeless and it's Flakko's fault. His older sister is homeless and it's his fault for some reason because they see him on YouTube making whatever he's making on YouTube.
Had a crazy case on him. He got deported. And your dad owed the U.S. government in back taxes $300,000.
Okay, so this is all his family. So you're saying his sister's homeless, his brother got deported because he was on some sexual assault cases that he had in the past, so he got deported. His father went to Liberia, and we already know that all three of these, well, not three of these things, we don't know anything about his sister, but these two other things we know about. Point and Shooter's already pointed this out. Flakko has spoken on it. He spoke about his father going to Liberia. He didn't say anything about tax evasion and IRS, but he said his father went back to Liberia for whatever reason. I can't remember the specific reason. But the brother, we know about the brother. This is not really doing anything. This is not really an exposing of Flakko.
He ended up running away because he did not want to go to prison. But you sit there every day and expose people and put their life in danger. When you sit in there every single day and you have so much baggage that you have to clean up, I think that's where my frustration comes from. Because
that makes no sense, my nigga. That makes no goddamn sense. Now, Flakko absolutely, especially when it came to the Draco the Ruler case, he's putting that murder on various folks and saying they know something about it. He's just pointing the finger through the media. So it's some pretty nasty work through the media. But these are things that happen through the media. You're looking at his media credibility and you're going to be like, okay, you're sensationalizing things. You're putting egregious murders on people. That could be that looks bad. But you should be attacking his digital footprint the same way Jew Almighty was, or even Point and Shoot, who's his biggest troll. You are his family. You are his family. You're bringing out personal business, alleged personal business. This is nasty. This is nasty. And the thing is, you're disparaging your family more than anything because this is your family. You're related. You're making the whole family look bad and you're making Flakko look cheap. Making Flakko look like he's not helping out his older sister who's potentially homeless. We don't know if that's even true. He's saying the girl that he has in his video is not his sister. And I'm like, I don't know who is who. These are just allegations. You're going to need something to substantiate your claims. Some evidence. You're going to bring an expose like this and have zero evidence?
Because it's not okay, it's not fair exposing all these people when your closet is so dark.
That's his personal life, my nigga. This is so bizarre. You sound jealous. How are you his family member and you're mad at the media coverage he's doing? It's not personal. You have no real personal reason to do this. It's like you're sitting at home miserable and dusty. You're hearing Flakko talk about how much money he getting from this. Flakko talk about he getting rich.
I'm getting rich.
This is just nasty work, bruh.
Only thing is just for you to come clean and help your sister. There's more I could say, but this is family matter.
can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up.
You are miserable.
Just for you to come clean and help your sister. There's more I could say, but this is family matter.
Get dude off the screen.
Oh, God.
Get dude off the screen, man. Who the fuck is that? Nigga?
Bro's talking about there's more I can say, but this is a family matter. Bro, you should have picked up the phone and called Flakko. You don't have his phone number, you have his IG. This is a family matter, right? You should be able to get a hold of somebody in the family as this is your family. Why are we involved? Why is this on the internet? Why does the story not even make sense?
I'm sure you're gonna make a respawn video of this and expose me as
Hell no! Trash ass nigga.
That's what he wants. That's what he wants. He wants the clout. Bro, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you're a relative no-name brand. Sometimes I have the audacity to cover no-name brands on my channel. That's how I blew up a lot of the Passport Bro space. A lot of these niggas were relative dusties with no followers, but I make compelling storylines and content out of it. But you're a no-name brand. He's not making a story out of you, getting 100,000 views, and now you're on the big screen because he's reacting to this. He's not doing that. Unless Point and Shoot makes the video, distorts the truth a little bit, makes this a huge thing, pause, and then Flakko is forced to dispel all the bullshit in this. I don't know if Flakko's sister is homeless or not. I don't know if he has any insight on his sister being homeless and Flakko is avoiding his or ignoring his sister. I don't know anything about that. I can't confirm or deny it. These are simply claims with no evidence. He hasn't even showed a single picture of him with Flakko. At the beginning, he showed a picture of Flakko on his screen. I'm like, that doesn't do anything, sir.
well. Please do. But at this current time, I want you to be truthful. Stop lying, because you lie.
Okay, so this is the coded frequency. This is the channel in which I'm reacting to the video from. So this is his video. This is him right here. Live in the flesh, in the chat. This is him.
So much, like, just stop lying, bro. And for me, honestly, just making sure that your sister is okay, because I know how much she did for us. She took care of us. She cooked for us when we didn't have nothing. She was there for us. And me being in my 30s now, I'm married with 3 kids. She's my cousin. She's my cousin.
Bro, you are married with 3 fucking kids and this is what you're doing? Yo, you can't make this shit up, my nigga. You're married with 3 kids?
There's so much I could do. She's not my sister, she's my cousin. But I still make sure that she's okay. But as a brother, you never once call your sister, you never once call your dad, you never once spoke to your brother who got deported back to Africa.
Alright, hold up, sir. You don't know what Flakko does and who he calls, sir. You're making these assumptions. You don't know if he called his pops. And why would he call his weirdo ass brother? Weirdo. Bro was sexually assaulting women, he got deported. Man, what the hell? At some point, you gotta disown some folks.
You don't have no communication with the family at all, but you bring a fake bitch on your podcast and say this is your sister? Once again, his real sister name is Jala.
Yep, we censored that once again. There's no reason for her government name to be out here, sir.
Okay.
No, I would love if he would actually call in, substantiate some of his claims, bring some sort of evidence, because this is all allegations right now.
Okay. Frederick Jala, he's 32. His brother David Jala got deported back to Africa because he had a crazy case on him.
Oh, so so it was statutory and it was forcible. Yikes. Minor, yikes. Filthy work.
All of this shit in your closet, and you still decide to say, I want to expose other people, and you want to sit there and laugh and put other people's life in danger, willingly knowing that your life is fucked up. For me, that's my rant for the day. I just want him to be more responsible, take accountability for every fucking lie he tells. Like, he's a big liar. Like, that nigga could lie. Since I've been knowing that nigga, he been lying.
Understand, he did nothing directly to you. You are yet to vocalize or verbalize any negative thing he directly did to you. You're mad at his content as his family member. So you're coming out and you're airing out family business, mad at his content. What did he do to you? Outside of you're mad at his content and you're saying his sister's homeless and she's not being taken care of, although you didn't want her in the crib when she was living with you at one point. Why are we in the family business over this? You didn't substantiate any claims yet as well. You're free to call in. The call line is there. We've seen you in the chat. You can call in and substantiate any of these claims. Have any evidence for anything. But this is just nasty work as it stands.
Like, Frederick is a liar. Like, all he does is lie. And I don't know how he haven't got exposed yet. I don't know. He's a big ass liar. Everything he does is a front. Everything he does is fake. And he got some weird cases. Frederick got some weird cases.
Now, this is also a wild allegation because his government name is out there. We can search the directory and find any criminal directory and find if he has any cases pending, charges against him, any allegations, anything. Currently, there's nothing.
I'm not here to talk about his cases. I'm here to talk about...
There may be some lawsuits because Flakko spoke about being sued in the past. I don't know if he's currently being sued.
Why he's not helping his sister. Number one, I'm here to say, why are you bringing fake people on your podcast and say this is your family when it's not your family members? Those are far from your family members. Your sister live in North Dakota, homeless. Yeah. Once again, I just want him to take accountability of certain things. The lies, the people he hurts. It's not worth it.
Get dude off the screen.
Oh, God.
Get dude off the screen, man. Who the fuck is that, nigga? What's this motherfucker cat? I'm the captain now. Look at it. Hey, look.
Shit, I never actually played that drop to completion. I forget he says that shit. Hold up, chat. Let's go to YouTube. Let's see what's going on out here. Let me look at this channel. Let me look at the average numbers of I don't know if dude's gonna call in. We offered him the call-in line. He was in the chat. So he either was subscribed to begin with or he waited the 20 minutes to subscribe to say this. But you can call in at any given time. Now, Flakko recently got cooked in a debate with Jew Almighty for the things that he said in the past. But Flakko, this is the thing. We can't do this shit where it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you are, like, he made a video that was trying to take accountability, but he was reframing it to make it look like his offenses were lighter. That's why Jew called him out on that, and he was correct for calling him out on that. He minimized his fuckery. He ultimately got cooked in the debate. I didn't watch the whole debate. I'm doing autofill. I seen a lot of it, and I was yelling at the screen. I'm like, fight back, you're getting cooked. But what was I supposed to type in again? God damn it. He was ultimately apologetic and taking accountability. So if somebody's apologetic and they're taking accountability for whatever the fuck they've done, and their message has changed now, at this point, I feel like I'm just going to be beating a dead horse at this point if I'm going to make all these points cooking them. At what point can you actually improve and do anything better? Or is it just, fuck you, we're just cooking you, we caught you now. This is evidence enough to cancel you. Because if you look at his most recent upload,
Nolan Wall friends can hide what they're hiding for much longer. And for legal reasons, I have to tell you guys to use your imagination when I say they can hide what they're hiding.
No, see, this is the thing. He said it was fake as hell. What do we deem real? If somebody's apologizing, they know exactly what they're apologizing for. They're changing the behavior. This is the thing. Flakko doesn't need a grift anymore. Flakko has 400,000 subscribers. He doesn't have to meat hug white supremacists. He doesn't have to meat hug academics, Saint the Sinner, and all these guys. If he's doing that, it's by choice now. If he's grifting, he's doing the Trump grift. He's selling out because he was meat hugging Trump as well. Nasty work. If he's doing that, that's a choice. It's almost like I'm giving him a pass for grifting, and then now he's here. And it's like I'm getting it out the mud the raw way, having to keep it a stack and consistent. And he's getting the express pass by grifting. The fans are more mad than I am. I'm like, what the fuck? I should be outraged. I should be able to grift. But I'm like, I'm not doing that. It's not in my character. I don't want that in my digital footprint. I'm not doing all these things to get some level of fame and visibility. I refuse to. I'd rather dust it up 50 viewers at a time. Oh! It's like so, I don't know, man. I just think you can't have the mentality of folks that it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's a breakdown I'm going to do with the whole Tasha K versus the FBA controversy. And Desaline's made a great point about the damned if you do, damned if you don't part of that. I'm not going to ruin what I'm going to break down in that breakdown. But you can't force people into that corner. When Duke the Don or various other people were unaccountable for the shit that they did, and they straight up gaslit folks, and they want to call out everybody else, but they don't want to own. They don't want to hug an L. They don't want to own their shit. Then it's just like, bro, what do you think? You think you're above reproach? You think you can't be, called out for your shit? Your shit don't stink? Those are the folks that I can't stand. Pussy ass nana. Unaccountable as shit. Folks like that. But if you're going to be like, man, fuck it. I was grifting. Yeah, I didn't know. Whatever the hell your excuse is, you apologize, you correct your behavior, and you move forward. It's like, we can cook you for your behavior. I can go through individual videos and be like, this is nasty work. This is a disgusting take. How does your mind even get to this take? How do you support Trump, Nick Fuentes, and all these guys and then end up pro-black? Like, explain to me all these things so I could understand. Like, we can do that. But the thing is, he was being pro-black while he was doing all this shit. He was straight up grifting everything.
For much longer. Things are coming out at a pace we've never seen before, and every single detail is contradictory to whatever story they're telling the public lately. There's been some new evidence that have surfaced in the last 48 hours that completely debunks their response to the CETO call, their response to the GPS data, their response to the last time they seen Nolan, their response to Nolan not being on a boat. But before we get there, let's rewind a little bit to the beginning so we can get their idea of their entire timeline. And I'm gonna be using the help of my girl, J. Megan. Now, this is the complete timeline of what they're saying took place.
Okay, this is my full Nolan Wells timeline with my supporting evidence. There were 3 votes in their group that day: Palm Beach, the Triton, and the Tideline. By the way, if you like my work, you can support me in my bio, because by the end of this video, I'll be dropping never before seen evidence. Anyway, back to the timeline. Warren said they got there at 10:30, even though the GPS said that they dropped their waypoint at 11:19. He said the Tidecraft, the Palm Beach, and the Triton were all anchored up next to each other. At 3 o'clock, he gets into a fight with some stranger who didn't like the way that he was talking to his girlfriend, because, I mean, look at the way he was talking in this interview. I don't blame them. And they had a fist fight. His uncle was like, we're getting the hell out of here.
I remember at one point in time, I look over and I see my uncle, and my uncle's yelling at me to get in the boat. I stopped fighting, as soon as me and him made eye contact, I got an uncle. I got in the boat.
Then Warren says that his brother was also involved in the same fight.
He'll come up to me and say, hey, your brother just got in a fight. And obviously, I have a younger brother, and that's what she was talking about, and I was freaked out. So I walked over to the beach, and I didn't walk over. I ran over. I made a beeline. I didn't talk to anybody, put my drink down, and walked over there. And my brother was kind of angry, and, there's a lot going on, but someone was getting pulled away. I don't know who it was. And my brother was like, oh, I just got in a fight, and this guy punched me in the face, and I punched him right back. Then I went to the ground. My brother put him in an armbar. And was Nolan involved in any of this? Absolutely not. When I was over there, there was a bunch of younger guys like my brother's age, and I mean, Nolan, I never saw Nolan over there. Absolutely not. And okay, sorry, I just lost my
The minute they asked, was Nolan involved in that altercation, he lost his train of thought. But okay. Now let's pause right here. That was around 3 p.m. Tristan got into an altercation. Simultaneously, Warren's brother was involved in an altercation around the same time. Now, Warren nor Tristan have came out and said these altercations was connected. That's something that they have left out, by the way. They have never came out and said, yo, these altercations was connected. Because I think once you admit, yo, these altercations was connected, you would then have to say, hold on, bruh. So Warren, Tristan, two of Nolan's quote-unquote best friends were involved in altercations and in fights. Nolan was with the group, but you didn't see Nolan nowhere in sight? I don't know, bruh. That don't seem, if my two best friends were involved in fights, the first thing you're gonna see me is running towards the altercation. Especially if we're in the same group, bro, we're all nearby each other. You get into a...
I can't picture Flakko running towards... I can't picture Flakko running towards an altercation. I'm sorry, bruh. You're gonna have to shed a few pounds first for me to actually visualize that. Like running, bro. Running a full sprint. Nah, Flakko would just be like yelling, like, yo, hold up, while he just waddles over there. Shout out to Flakko, but come on, man.
Fight. Your two best friends are involved in altercations. You not coming to check in on a best friend? My theory, in my personal opinion, I think Nolan may have been in more proximity to that quote-unquote altercation or that quote-unquote fight than they're leading on. But again, we can't prove that, so let's just continue with their timeline. But that's the first discrepancy. 3 p.m., Tristan was involved in a quote-unquote fight. Warren was involved in a quote-unquote fight. They have refused to say whether or not those two fights were connected. But what they're both saying is Nolan was nowhere near this altercation. He was nowhere involved. Even though his two quote-unquote best friends were involved in altercations near him, he was nowhere involved, and he never came over to check up on them or get involved.
You're ready to go. There's an issue with the boat. Okay, yeah. This is what to that. So the fight happened, your brother the scuffle.
Bro, these guys are so full of shit. I don't know why they keep coming on Raccoon Tatum's show to give different variations of the story. And then they had one dude talking about he's like, these three gentlemen, these are all American dudes. Why would we do this? This would be incredibly dumb. Why would we do this? Why would we do this? And I'm like, bro, criminals, idiots that fuck up, they do stupid things all the goddamn time. What do you mean, why would we do this? Why are you making us unpack the dumb shit you did or you could have potentially did? These excuses are ridiculous. And the way Officer Tatum is now trying to point the finger at Nolan Wells' mother, all these dusty ass live streams, bro decided he's not doing any investigative journalism at all. He's protecting and he's pandering. So nasty work. Now, this is Flakko's video pointing out some of the inconsistencies, the lies. He has his foot on their necks as it relates to this case. But now the fact that Flakko has been exposed for the things that he's been done in the past, the grifting, the Donald Trump supporting, the Nick Fuentes supporting, all that shit, does this look like another grift? Does it look like he's taking advantage of folks, or is he just aligning with his interests now? This is one of those ones where it's like, how do you call it when somebody grifted and somebody was fake the entire time on their ascension and now they're making content that kind of goes with being on code, kind of goes with the pro-black stance he was taking, but the avenues he took to get to where he's at now wasn't the pro-black way. It was grifting the alt-right. You don't see Flakko and No Jumper anymore. All he ever does is cook No Jumper staff. Called out Josh for trying to do whatever, or was that him that called out Josh? Yeah, he called out Josh. He called out Munchie B. He's been calling out folks on the No Jumper staff, pretty much just trying to destroy whoever's in the building, all the momentum they have. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Flakko and be like, yo, let's have a real ass conversation, bruh. Let's get the goddamn truth out. No grift, no slant, no like what the hell's going on? What is the real angle here?
You know, I'm assuming that it was cleared up. You got your brother out of this situation, and then how did you find out that this boat is sinking? Well, I walked back over, and like we're probably around each other for a little bit. I mean, you know, I wasn't thinking anything. I told my brother off the beach. I was just like, listen, get in the water, hang out with us, calm down. I mean, he was calm, but I didn't want anything else to happen, you know. And so once I got back over the boat, I got on the Triton, and the Triton had probably about 6 inches of water up to the transom, and I was freaked out because I'm good friends with Wyatt, and that was his boat, and you know, no water's coming out, no access water's coming out, and it was a big issue because I think the reason was because there were so many people getting on and off the boat. At some point, the boat was very, very crowded, and there's just a lot of people on, so it drags water.
Yeah, that's not how boats work. Boats don't flood getting in and out of water. Mind you, I'd also like you guys to see that they are in much shallower water than they claim. But I digress. As someone whose parents have had several boats in their life, boats don't just start sinking because people are getting in and out of the water. I think they were trying to run as well because there is an underage kid who just got into a physical fist fight on the island. All of them are drinking and driving boats, so they're trying to hightail it out of there.
Nolan is 19 years old. Warren, I believe, is 19 or 20 years old. The oldest person there in that friend group was Bart, who was 21. But Warren claims his younger brother was much younger than them. Much younger, what, 3 or 4 years? So a freshman or a sophomore in high school. He was on the island, surrounded by underage drinking. Let's just say possibly, right? A freshman or sophomore in high school was also drinking. Any other case, there will be somebody in cuffs and in jail right now, which already tells you that there's collusion happening. Powerful people in that city is connected. You know, this is a really small town. And these kids' parents are judges or doctors in this really small town. They must be connected to governors, mayors, government officials, sheriffs, because any other case, right, the person that's guilty of providing liquor to freshmen and sophomores in high school possibly, and freshmen in college, they will be in jail, especially when you take into consideration that the liquor, according to them, Nolan was sloppy drunk. Now, Nolan's mom says she don't believe it, but they said he was sloppy drunk. So according to them.
My bad. I spoke before I paused it. I don't know why that is ignored. These are all underage kids, teenagers drinking. They're all under the legal age of drinking in America. They're all drunk. Who bought them the alcohol? Why are there no consequences for the person that provided them the alcohol? Why is that not even a discussion? Because it's a cover-up. They're trying to make sure everybody goes home, nobody gets in trouble. Like, we clearly see it. And that's why it's important for folks to make as much noise as they can in the media. So when somebody like Flakko, who has a platform that's able to get 100,000 views every time he does one of these motherfuckers, this should be a positive. This should be when you acknowledge your fuckery in the past, you apologize for it, you change your actions, and you move forward. This should be something. He didn't do what Abba did. Abba gaslit us. And Abba's still able to criticize and cut up anybody in their relationship and anything, and he was a complete hypocrite and a fraud. Didn't take any accountability. And we just moved past that. So I'm just like, well, of course he wasn't as egregious as Flakko. Him and his personal life and his situations he didn't grift. It's not a one-to-one, so it's a bad comparison. Just an unnecessary shot at Abba.
Nolan was sloppy drunk, and that may have contributed to him drowning. In the other case, the person who provided, right, liquor would at the very least be charged with like delinquency of a minor. Like at the very least.
Yeah.
At the most probably manslaughter, right? Because your actions contributed to the death of somebody else. No charges have been brought. But I digress. Let's get back to the timeline. 3 p.m. was when the altercation with Tristan and the altercation with Warren and his brother took place. Nolan, according to them, was not involved in the altercation whatsoever. He was nowhere around. But somehow, 3 p.m., when they said, after the fight,
Hold up. We are going to listen to these. We are definitely going to listen to these points, but we have to stop the show. Yo, comment. Yo. Shout out to A-Lady747 with the peak humor. What the hell? That is shit. That's so hilarious. Holy.
Hauled butt back to the boat to get him out of there. That's when they last saw Nolan, they said, at 3 p.m. So Nolan was close enough to where in a rush to get back, y'all see Nolan, but Nolan was not close enough to come to the rescue of his two best friends involved in fistfights and physical altercations. Okay, that's strange. Okay, so 3 p.m. was when they, quote unquote, last saw Nolan, which is also contradictory to them saying we was calling for Nolan to get back on the boat at 4:30. But let's continue with the timeline.
Now, Warren goes into so much detail that he accidentally explains what really happened, but not in the way that he was saying it.
I think every time we were out there for a couple hours, the boat just started filling up with water. So I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater. And so the motor wouldn't turn down. I mean, my buddy would go to turn it down from the console, and it turned down, and then it come right back up.
Now, trimming the motor means they move the propeller closer to the transom and it lowers the bow, which means they can drive through choppy water without risking that choppy water to come into the boat. Failing to trim your boat up and taking off at a high speed can not only overheat very quickly and cause it to shore, but if waves are high, it won't cut through the wake and it will cause the boat to porpoise and possibly have rough, choppy waters get on your boat.
So, I mean, on the way out there, it was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And so, I mean, we followed each other out, and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was a little more rough, but it was not anything my buddy's boat's couldn't handle, or like it wasn't like we were getting beat, really beat.
Now, as you can see, it is tilted up here in the back, and look how low the front is. He admitted that they hit choppy water at one point, so not that hard of a stretch to think that the water started coming over the boat, and that's when they were in trouble. That's when the bilge pump stopped working. Because Warren, when they claimed that they were leaving and he was jumping into action because it was sinking, he says this.
Maybe disabled so you could get it out from Horn Island. So what happens after that?
Wyatt jumps the wall.
Now, I think what people have to understand about Flakko in this situation is he didn't have to own up to shit. All these dusty ass narcissistic content creators don't own up to shit when they get called out. They either disappear, they gaslight folks, and they move on to other content and call out other content creators like nothing happened with them personally. We see that time and time again. Flakko didn't, Jew made his videos, his few videos. He didn't have to call into Jew and debate Jew, hug the L, be accountable for the things, get Jew to get the W, have more content, have that one. He didn't have to do that. That was content creation. That was him being accountable. He wasn't dragged to own up to. He didn't have to do anything. He could have just kept running stories. We see it happen time and time again, folks. When you hit us, when you're a small YouTuber, big stories can kill you. When you're a big YouTuber like that, a lot of folks don't even see all the mess. A lot of folks are there for the stories. A lot of folks don't stand on any principle or stand on anything consistent or code or anything. They're just here for the entertainment. So when you get to that level and you're doing that level of views, like look at folks still. There's Anton's doing a fuck ton of views. He got exposed the worst way. It didn't stop anything. It gave him more promo. I remember one time I even cornered y'all. I don't know. It's not y'all. It's not the same folks in the chat. But I was standing on business. I was standing on some real shit, and folks were pandering for Destiny. They're like, "Oh, we're Destiny fans," and I'm like, "We got them dead. We have them dead to rights. Racist things here, pedo things here. We have all the audios. It's still in my Dropbox. I'm just not gonna play them because it's gonna demonetize the stream, of course. But we cooked Destiny. We had fans in the chat refusing. They have dead to rights. Oh, we still like them. Same thing with ABBA. Oh, they still like them. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't fucking matter.
Water tries to throw a rear anchor, and I'm looking at her. You're sitting, looking, trying to pull trash out the bilge, and the bilge is basically a pump that pulls the water, the access water out the boat. So the bilge was failing to work. So any access water just sitting in the boat wasn't getting pumped out. So I looked over the gunnel, and I looked at the release hole for the bilge, and it was eating with the water. So, I mean, we're all freaking out. All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well, then, eventually, my buddy Bart on the timeline is like, I'm going to pull you all out.
So even though they were still on the island, he jumps out and throws out an anchor? Why did they pull the anchor up to begin with if they were sinking? If they were sinking, why was Bart offering to tow them out? Why would they risk being that close to the island and that close to ground to sink out further? Because again, look at how shallow of water these boats are in.
The reason why that's important is because if they tried to haul butt up out of there first and they went a little deeper.
Yo, free promo, yo. Get your free promo, fam. Random University stepping in the chat for his chest out free promo. Doesn't give a fuck. Yo, what time's the podcast on? Fuck it, we'll help with the promo. What time is the For Us podcast?
And then came back once they realized, oh, yo, we're sinking. That matters because TMZ, Tatum, and all these people have been saying, oh, look, there's this photo of them. You know, they're on the water, they're sailing away. Nolan is nowhere in sight. That could have been around 3 p.m. when they were trying to haul butt up out of there without Nolan. And then realized, oh, yo, we can't go nowhere. Like, we're sinking. And then came back to shallow waters. Because it wouldn't make sense to start off on shallow waters, realize you're already sinking, which, again, how can you sink on shallow waters? That makes no sense as well. But to realize, oh, damn, yo, we're on, like, shallow waters. We're near land, right? Like, the boat is docked near land on shallow waters. We realize we're already, like, sinking, but we're gonna...
This is why they say nothing is free in life. Because even when it's free, folks refuse to take the free promo. Shout out to Random University with the $2 super chat. Random University says, I gotta throw you a coin for the promo 5 p.m. Central. Okay, so it's tomorrow. Shout out to Random University and the For Us podcast with Jew Almighty, Watts TV, and god damn it, don't make me forget them. Oh god damn it, I did it. Fuck. Logic, is that his name? Fuck you, god damn. Man, this is what happens, man.
You want to sit there and stay on the weed.
How did I forget? I got the cast right. Y'all got it, man.
Sail to deeper waters where we have where there's a chance of us to like fully get engulfed by the water. That wouldn't make sense, right? And how they describe it, where like the water was like overflowing.
Ill logic. See, that's what it is, man. See, I stopped smoking backwoods, man. Maybe I need to start smoking the backwoods. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm more fuzzy since I stopped smoking backwoods. I don't know, man. I blame the weed for everything, but at some point, I'm gonna have to take accountability. Gonna have to do it.
On the boat, that wouldn't happen where they were docked. Like that was like literally like shallow waters. Like, bro, you could see like, bro, like their feet. Like the water don't go past like damn near like their ankles or something. So that photo could be undermined if they were trying to haul butt up out of there at 3 without Nolan, came back once they realized they can't, and then spent another hour and 30 minutes trying to fix this boat problem. And the only reason why that's important is because the narrative has now been, I mean, y'all seen the picture. There's no chance, impossible, that all these theories y'all are putting out there is true. But when you look at things like this, you can't rule out the possibility the boat may have came back within an hour and 30 minutes. Nolan may have been killed. Or Nolan may have been on the boat when they sailed off. Because the picture could very well have been from the first time they tried to get on deep waters. Because you wouldn't do that in the reverse. Now, we're not saying they did anything. I'm not saying they did anything wrong. I'm just saying you can't rule it out. You can't do these interviews and say, it's impossible. These people are only questioning us for ulterior motives. It's impossible. No, it's very possible. And these are things Tatum, who has been the sole interviewer so far, has refused to dive deep on. But let's get back to the timeline.
What I suspect is that everybody just hauled ass and left, but because the trim...
Okay, so, yeah, man, I'm telling y'all, the best way to understand what his cousin was saying was to watch the first 2-minute intro. It's better than watching the entire reaction because I chopped it up to try to just get to his point of the beef. And the point of his beef is, bro, jealous. Bro is jealous that Flakko's making money and his channel's dusting it up. Because there's no, if you're family, you should not be so upset at Flakko's content and him calling out other people to the point where you're exposing sensitive family information. There's no way that that should bring you to that level. So that's his beef with Flakko. I personally have no beef with Flakko. If I called him out on various things, it's because that's what I do. I'm objective about certain things. He's made mistakes in the past. I moved on with it. I clearly still support a lot of the shit he's done or is doing currently.
Was not going down. It overheated, that stalled out. Then the crashing waves were freaking everybody out. But even Warren couldn't keep his story straight or his timeline straight because then listen.
All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well then, eventually, my buddy Bart on the timeline is like, I'm gonna pull you all out so we're around all this, all this chaos.
We heard this already. Why is this repeating?
There were still just as many people there, if not more, than when we got there. I mean, probably around the same amount. It was crazy. Like, there was a lot of people enough. I mean, eventually, Bart pulls us out. We left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out.
So he says it right there, that Bart pulls them out. They leave at 4:30. And you may be thinking, well, he pulled them after. He towed them after, but...
Out. We left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out, and we had the towing strap pulled from, Bart's port side cleat, or starboard side cleat, and he was on our starboard side bow. And so he was rubbing on his power pole. So Bart turned around, pulled up next to our boat, and we were just trying to get situated.
So that's when Y called Cito.
We know that phone call was around 4 p.m. to the private towing company. Now, in my last video, I went into detail with the Bart, the fight, all of that stuff, the discrepancies between like the neck of water and then suddenly being in 31 feet of water, etc. I'm gonna skip over that. Now, the last data point for the GPS was at about 8 o'clock that night. So then they go over to a female friend's house to go to the pool. And yet, instead of joining his friends in the pool, this is what Warren did.
At a lady friend's house.
Right, I never got to the pool. I talked to her dad for a while, and all my friends were downstairs. I went upstairs, talked to her dad. We were talking about boats and stuff, and I've been with my friends all day. I was just talking to everybody, but
So you talked to the young lady's dad, and then how long was it before you realized, or you guys realized that, well, where's Nolan at?
All right, well, now I gotta stop your ass, because what 18-year-old goes to a friend's house to party, all the friends go downstairs to the pool area, and he goes upstairs to talk to her father about boats? Mind you, these children had been drinking all day long.
That was what I said when I first reacted to this, and I'm pretty sure I played this very same drop.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
I'm like, why would you do all of that? And then you were the one to call it in too?
His buddies don't go home until 3 a.m., mind you. Now, I know it's been a while since I've been 18, but that's a long day in the hot, in the sun, drinking. Sounds to me like you were talking to this dad to help with the story.
It's important to really go back and remind people of these really tiny details, because these tiny details like this have kind of like disappeared, right? As time progresses, as the story kind of progresses, these tiny, minute details that are like very crucial has kind of disappeared. But the reason why that particular detail is important is because that's the timeline in which they figured out, wait, Nolan might be missing. So they get to this crib,
The other detail that is very bullshit is that friend, Warren, he said the last time he seen Nolan was at 3, and then he came back, said a few other things, and then he seen Nolan again at 3:40. Like his story directly contradicts his own story. Like he said the last time he seen him was at a certain time, and then he said, oh no, I seen him again at another time. And I'm like, bro, if you seen him the last time at 3 o'clock, how did you see him doing something else at 3:40? I gotta get the specifics in what he seen him at 3:40, but he said that, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Goes upstairs after drinking all day while partying to go talk to the only adult at the time around. Why you go upstairs to talk to the only adult? He says he was trying to talk about boats. Okay, cool, okay. Is it possible that he might have went upstairs to ask about advice for a tricky situation they might have been in? Possible. But when he comes back down after talking to the only adult around, He comes back downstairs and he walks into a conversation where they're just conveniently talking about Nolan Wells. They're just talking about their good old buddy Nolan.
Mind you, they left him at Horn Island and they had his phone. So he didn't take the boat that he came on. Oh yeah, it's customary. It's normal for people to be left there if they request to be left there. But then you have his phone. And nobody just raises complete alarms and red flags. Like, why do you have his phone?
Now, I'll be real with y'all, bro. There's just too many coincidences lining up here that I think after a couple coincidences, you got to start asking what's a coincidence and what's not. Because what's not natural about this is, if I leave, let's say, my friend at a party, right? Let's just say I leave my friend at a party, right, at 4 p.m., right? And then I go about my day. I'm probably not thinking where my homie is, right? Right? Like, again, I'm just being real with y'all, bro. Yo, if I leave my homie at a party at 5 p.m. because my homie is talking to a girl, I'll probably, like, hit the homie up, like, the next morning, like, hey, bro, you feel me? Like, what's up?
That is 100% facts. I go out, I'm outside, I chill with my niggas, I leave at different times. We don't always leave together. We don't come together. We all take different whips. So if I dip, I dipped. I'll talk to them tomorrow, most likely, or maybe later that night if a nigga hits me up and says X, Y, and Z's going on or whatnot. But for the most part, you hear about it the next day, the following day. You get back to the group chat or whatever the fuck you're talking to your friends, and you're speaking the next day. You're not really in that moment. You're not that concerned unless someone calls and brings like an emergency or something. Like nobody's,
like, what you on today? I'm not leaving and like at 8 p.m. Yo, bro, what's the homie at? That's not the natural progression of partying, especially if we all drinking and partying still. I'm probably not worried about where the homie is. But to go upstairs and talk to the only adult around for quote unquote board advice, again, we think it was for advice for a tricky situation, but that's just my opinion. Come downstairs and then conveniently walk into a conversation about Nolan, and then your mind automatically goes to the worst. Where's Nolan? He's missing. Call Coast Guard. Come on, sir.
And then after the audio's leaked and we hear the damn it Bart, we have Bart's lawyer threatening everybody, talking about, oh, if you're in the media and you're even repeating things that you heard from other media sources that will, what is the word? Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm seriously blanking. Wow. This is a foggy moment. Why? Like, I'm literally searching for a word in my head, and I'm like, yo, where the fuck is it at? I can't blame the weed either. This is just overworking. All right, let's get back into this.
Go downstairs, and your friends just so happen to be talking about Nolan, and then you're like, oh my God, I should call the Coast Guard.
Well, I went back downstairs, and all my friends were just hanging out, and my buddy Wyatt had a dress, talk about Nolan. And I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him?
It just seems pretty convenient that after his powwow upstairs with the father of his friend, he comes downstairs and then all of a sudden they start talking, have you seen Nolan? No, I haven't seen Nolan. Have you seen Nolan? Maybe we should call this person. We should call his mom. Almost seems like they actually go back downstairs after talking about what they should do about the situation with the dad, or whatever it is they were really doing at that time, came downstairs and started talking about Nolan publicly so that everybody at the party could be organic witnesses witnesses to when the conversation happened. Because he kept contradicting himself. He kept saying, oh, I wasn't too worried about it, but then also we know that they can kill people. But also, you know, like maybe I would just call the Coast Guard, you know, just to make sure it's okay. I'm so mad I didn't save it, but in one of these interviews, they said that Katie was supposed to come to the party with them later, which is why Nolan said he was going to hang back with her. So why would they dry snitch to their friend's mom before getting in contact with Katie? So as I was making this video, I caught something so big it changes everything. Throughout this entire interview, Warren insisted that Bart's boat was a tide line. He was so sure of it, said it over and over and over again, claimed that there were 20 to 30 people on that boat. By the way he talks about boats and the equipment and stuff, it seems like he has some general knowledge of it and knows a lot about boats. So maybe y'all can tell me why, in this report, when they gathered the GPS evidence, does it say that Bart was driving a tide craft, not a tide line? They're entirely different designs, purposes, manufacturing styles. Mind you, this is what tide crafts look like. They ain't fitting 20 people on them. This is more what tide line boats look like, y'all. So did Bart bring 2 boats with him? As Warren said, Bart's dad was originally supposed to go with them. Tide line boats don't fit 20 people either. So was there a 4th boat out there?
The reason why the idea of a 4th boat is really important is because when they say, hey, we got on a boat at 3 and we ultimately left at 4:30, and here is our complete GPS data so you could track us. That right there, the GPS data, has been the only verifiable evidence of their movements. So when they say, this is when we left, this is when we hopped on, this is where we went, the GPS data has been the only empirical evidence we have to say, okay, yeah, we take their word for it. This is when they left. This is when they came. This is everything. But if there's been a 4th boat that has not been tracked, if there's been a 4th boat that has GPS data that we don't have,
and then you bring in the reason to why the fuck they called off the sea tow call in the first place. I always said, less eyes, less witnesses, easier to cover the evidence if you cancel that sea tow call. The grandfather called or canceled that sea tow call. Now, the only thing we have is the GPS. We don't have any eyes. We don't have anything to confirm if there's a 4th boat.
Then that brings up the possibility there may have been more traveling to more places and more activities that we don't know about. That's why that 4th boat is important. And guess what? J. Megan uncovered more evidence there may have been a 4th boat. And again, it's really important because the GPS data from the boat they are talking about is the only way they've been able to say, here's our movements, here's where we went, here is how you track us in our activities. If there was a 4th boat that's being hidden, that's not being discussed, that's not being tracked, then there have been activities, there's been movements that we don't know about. And we must have all the information. And if information is being hidden purposefully, that's a reason for us to pause. I'm not saying they did anything wrong. I'm just saying there are possibilities. There are things we're not being told.
Not only have I found more evidence of a 4th boat, not only have I found a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA. So first off, this picture has surfaced in which it's clearly the group of boats a little bit further out in the water altogether. Now here's what is supposedly Bart's boat. We can see the Garmin on top, can confirm this black boat from this other picture. We can see Wyatt's Triton right here, and we can confirm that by the motor. As you can see right here, has that black stripe on the white motor. Now in between the 2 boats is the Palm Beach. You can clearly see it labeled and it's got that stripe, right? As you can see, the stripe is there. And yet there's this design right here and no Palm Beach. And you may be like, Jay, that doesn't prove that it's a different boat. Maybe we just can't see it, even though it should be right there according to this picture. But if you look in this video, you can see that there is a black propeller right there. See black propeller, and you can very clearly see the Palm Beach right there on the side. And if you look really carefully in this photo, you can see right there a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these 3 boats. And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm gonna assume the Palm Beach is on the other side, which means there's 4 boats right here. Then I rewatched Warren's interview.
And I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. No one was not with me, and I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck, and well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddies, and we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from 4 Bayou Boat Launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day.
So Wyatt had his buddy's boat already hooked up to the back of his truck. He said he and Wyatt and his other buddy went and got ice and filled up the boats. And Wyatt went and put the Palm Beach, his smaller boat, into the water. And we know that there was a second boat, the Triton, that was driven by Wyatt. Wyatt had 2 boats in the water. Who was driving his other boat?
We don't know the patterns of that particular boat. We don't know the GPS data. We don't know where it went. We don't know who was driving it. But we're trying to figure out who was driving Wyatt's other boat. Let's go to the Cito call. Now, this is completely speculatory. This is just my opinion, speculatory, okay? When Wyatt was on the phone with Cito, somebody else was also on the phone with Cito at the same time. That person's phone call has not been released yet. There's been no transcripts for it. Nobody have heard the phone call, but it was Wyatt's grandfather. Wyatt's grandfather.
Yeah, we know what happened. We don't have the transcripts, but we know what was essentially said and the message that was delivered when the grandfather called and canceled the Cito from actually assisting them. So we know that the ultimately he called to cancel the tow. We don't know what was said. We don't know what was said or what was heard in the background. But it's not the same as the kids calling, because the kids were on the scene. The grandfather, I presume, was not. So we're not going to hear any shit going on in the background that's going to give us more details. We're just going to hear specifically what he said, how he worded it, if he sounded frantic, if he was trying to manipulate the situation. The call, the transcript will be a little enlightening. It will help a little bit, I think. And yeah, man, going back to this, Bart's dad, Bart Obninston, however the hell you say his name, his dad is basically trying to make sure that people don't get in the media, put the story together, and have something that may incriminate his son. So that's why he's doing this whole defamation, trying to hit folks with cease and desist. He already hit some TikToker with a cease and desist, talking about, yeah, it's defamation and it's X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, bro, for defamation, you're going to have to prove that everything that folks are speculating on is complete fraudulent. So you're going to have to go out of your way to prove his innocence. And these folks are doing entirely too much. I don't know why they're clout chasing Nolan Wells' death instead of allowing the family to grieve. Because if y'all were real friends, y'all aren't doing 30 interviews with Officer Tatum, who is trying to point the finger at Nolan Wells' mom. Talking about Nolan Wells' mom will not turn in the phone. She's suspicious, blah, blah, blah. Running all these dumb-ass storylines, antagonizing the family. So you're supposed to be friends, and you're supposed to try to make us believe that you're good friends to Nolan and you would not do anything wrong and you want the best for him, but y'all are clout chasing every fucking moment to be in front of the camera with Coon Tatum while he disparages the family of the friend that you're supposed to have. This is bullshit. I'm not buying it. These kids are full of shit. That father that's trying to hit folks with the lawsuit could eat a dick. Jesus Christ.
Was the one who told Cito, oh yeah, y'all shouldn't come anymore. Don't call Coast Guard. No, don't call Coast Guard. Now, if Wyatt's grandfather was on the island, if he drove the boat to the island, if Wyatt's grandfather, which I've seen this theory before where others have also pointed out Wyatt's grandfather may have been on the island, I don't know. But if Wyatt's grandfather was on a...
Holy shit, what do you mean? That's another curveball. I didn't even think about that. I thought they just messaged or linked the grandfather and told him whatnot. I didn't even think the grandfather could have potentially been on the island and been a part of this cover-up directly. Like he had eyes on the situation. Didn't even factor that in.
Island, why have we heard very little about Wyatt's grandfather? If there's a mystery of who the other driver was of the boat, of Wyatt's boat, why was the grandfather on the phone at the same time that Wyatt was, telling them not to bring Cito and not to bring the Coast Guard? Why was the grandfather even involved in this at all? Right? That don't make sense. But here's the CETO call confirming that Wyatt's grandfather was on the call at the same time that Wyatt was telling them not to come.
For your support. So the official sworn MDMR Marine Patrol report was filed as a non-criminal missing person report. Now this was filed via telephone at 10:05 a.m. on July 5th, 2026.
And the name right here says Bart Joseph Edmonston Jr.
2 individuals are listed as involved entities, 21-year-old Bart Joseph Edmonston Jr. and Jerry Ralph Atkerson, which happens to be Wyatt's grandfather, i.e. the owner of the boat.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said that Jerry. Yeah, he said,
okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now.
That call has not been released yet. We don't know what the grandfather told these people, but all the questions to our answers is in that call. The grandfather would say, hey, I'm on the island, or hey, I'm at home. I just heard what happened. But why would a grandfather who's not there, who's at home, who's hearing about his grandson's boat is sinking, tell them, hey, don't go out there. We don't need you. That's information that you would probably know, or you will have more of a grasp on the situation if you were there and present, because Wyatt was on the phone with them. So Wyatt wasn't on the phone with his grandfather and CETO at the same time. So if Wyatt is telling CETO, hey, we need help, we need somebody to come out here, the grandfather is on a phone call at the same time saying, no, we don't need y'all to come out there. That would mean the grandfather would have been somewhere observing something. Because Wyatt can't tell the grandfather he's okay while telling CETO he's not okay at the same time. But if we get that call, which I'm going to request it, if we get that call, we'll know if the grandfather tell him, hey, I'm on the island, or hey, I'm at home. We will know the answer to that question. But them doing interviews and saying, well, this case is already sealed up, is already definitive, it's impossible with all the evidence that have came out that we did anything, we don't know. Questions still need to be answered. Okay.
And one thing they have to remember, that the cases are not litigated in the court of public opinion. The media could bring all the details to the table which assist the police into doing their actual investigation. But the court of public opinion is not where you save. If you try to create a narrative where you have a bunch of folks online believing your bullshit, that does not equate to you being free or acquitted of these charges if they come up, if they actually become charges, or the investigation actually culminates into some charges. Your presence in the media and Officer Tatum doing the tap dance for y'all ain't gonna save folks. So them declaring all this shit in the media is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I honestly don't know. This is not me dog whistling guilt. This is me saying I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot that still needs to be answered. This case is far from closed and sealed.
Nolan was on Wyatt Pirate.
Right now, we're looking at it and we're saying the math is not mathing. Shit looks suspicious, but can we just nail somebody down to it and be like, you did this 100%. This is suspicious because of this. It's not right now. It's not adding up either way. So it's still an open case, very open at this point. Things are looking really suspicious. There's a lot of contradicting statements. And I'd wonder how it would go if it's on like a legit police record and a police file where the police investigate it and they nitpick through the contradictions and find the truth. Because that's really up for the police, and when they actually bring them in for questioning, if they bring in any individual for questioning. At this moment, I don't even believe we have the autopsy results. I'm pretty sure they still have those sealed. I don't know if there's an update that's come out as I've been covering other stories, because honestly, Chad, I've been covering a whole bunch of shit. I've been editing like a motherfucker today. That's why I'm a bit foggy with my thoughts.
22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey, man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat, and I'll take you and your friends. Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and, I mean, I rode out there with Bart, and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was probably ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people.
Now, wait a minute. So Warren already had a boat hooked up when he woke up that morning. I'm assuming that that had to be the Triton that was hooked up, right? Then he said that Wyatt went and put his smaller boat, the Palm Beach, into the water. Then Warren said that he was the one who drove the Palm Beach to their friend's dock. Assuming that Wyatt drove the Triton to the dock and Bart drove his own boat to that dock, who drove the Palm Beach out to the water then? Because he said that he got a ride in with Bart, even though at one point during the interview he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So it sounds to me like Warren was the one driving the Palm Beach. I'm also like, what parent would let their kid, who's obviously going off to party, take 2 of their boats and let their drunk friends drive? Like, it isn't making sense to me. I mean, maybe these parents are just shitty parents and irresponsible. Then he also said that he contacted Bart that morning to see if he could come, and Bart was like, yeah, I can come.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be operating these boats intoxicated. They're not even the legal age to be even intoxicated in the first place. So you shouldn't be boating and driving, and you should not be... Wait, boating and driving? Bro, what the hell? What the hell am I on? You should not be drinking and operating a boat, and you should not be drinking, period, because you're not old enough.
Friends a ride, blah, blah, blah. According to him, there were 10-ish people, 15 people on that boat. So where were those people originally supposed to ride in on? They'd been planning it for weeks. They were excited about it. Why did Bart have to suddenly step in and take all these people? And remember, Bart said that his dad had canceled going out on the boat that day, so he could do it. Something's not adding up here. I think there was an adult somewhere in this mix. It would also explain how they all thought quickly on their feet with the...
Oh no, yo, she's breaking this down. This, I didn't even consider this too, because remember the call, remember the emergency call. If anybody here is, or everybody here should be privy to the emergency call. Well, this is for a different topic of the show, so maybe people don't know the emergency call. Can we get these likes up, chat? First of all, these likes are pretty pathetic. But the emergency call, for some reason, Wyatt's like, there's no adults on this boat. And the lady's like, I didn't ask that, sir. We never asked that. How many folks are on the boat? And he said there's no adults. And I'm like, why did you go out of your way to say that? And folks were thinking he was saving Bart. Bart was the adult. But she's saying maybe there's another adult?
Sea-tow. I wouldn't be surprised if explain how they all thought quickly on their feet with the sea-tow. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult didn't come out there and just go off with other adults that were also on Horn Island and let the kids hang out with the boats. Here's where things are going to get interesting, folks. There are more GPS coordinates in the report than what we have seen publicly.
Wait,
I'm gonna play
what?
you a clip from the interview, but remember, at 5:30 is when they started picking up regular speed, all right? It's right here, 5:25.
Here's where this boat situation gets even weirder. When Warren did his interview with Officer Tatum, Warren said, as you heard earlier in this video, but I will remind you, that the last time he seen Nolan was with Katie, right? He had Katie in his arms. They was having personal time. And because of that...
He said he had her cradled up in his arms, and he's like, you crazy. He said that to him, and he was laughing.
Personal time with Katie, they had to leave Nolan because Nolan chose not to go with them. He wanted to stay with Katie. Even though Katie said the last time she seen Nolan was when they was calling Nolan over.
It's always on the boat. No one's getting off the boat with their phone. So.
And so you guys get...
You hear this, idiot? The phones are always on the boat. Nobody getting off the boat with the phone. It's like, bro, okay, so if y'all are leaving with the motherfucking boat, I'm pretty sure you gotta return the phone, nigga. So why did you keep his phone?
Ready to leave out of there, getting towed out.
Yeah.
And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. And Nolan was...
He said 3 o'clock, and then he contradicts himself.
Was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie, Katie. And Katie, Nolan was sitting there, and the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing, and I was like, dude, you crazy. I was like just joking with him. And, but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us unless they demanded to, be there and asked, this is a very common thing at Horn Island. When you're out there, a lot of people ride out there with someone and in with somebody else all the time. I've done that 100 times. You know, it's a very common thing, but
you just went from we're not leaving, we're riding in with everybody we rode out with, or vice versa. Jesus Christ, what's going on with me today? So it's normal. It's commonplace that people just go in with somebody and leave with somebody else. But do they leave without their phone though?
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And like, no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Get on.
If Nolan didn't get on the boat because he was with Katie, well, what if I tell you there may be evidence that Katie was on the boat? Would that change your mind on where Nolan was?
Make sure you go and watch it, but I'll give you a quick little rundown. Teal swimsuit, white backwards baseball cap. Teal swimsuit, white baseball cap. Red shorts, red shorts, red shorts. Bart's boat, girl in striped swimsuit, standing right next to a long-haired girl in a teal swimsuit. Teal swimsuit, striped swimsuit.
A girl in a teal swimsuit?
That's not what I noticed. I noticed the timestamp.
Swimsuit, teal swimsuit,
5:24 p.m.
striped swimsuit.
A girl in a teal swimsuit was Katie, by the way. That's evidence you see of Katie's on who boat? You do with that information as you may. If Nolan was with Katie and Katie was on the boat, then where was Nolan in that time? Y'all let me know in the comment section, okay?
That's crazy, man. Yeah, Flakko's doing some good work covering the Nolan Wells case. And back to the beginning of this live stream, that's what it comes down to. If you're fucking up so badly, but you are apologetic and you are changing your direction, it's not like you're completely forgiven. For most people are like,
putting you on probation. We're putting you on probation.
Most people would be like that. It's like, okay, you were selling out before. You were saying a whole bunch of coon shit. You're supporting Trump. You're supporting Nick Fuentes. X, Y, and Z, everything he's going through this week. But ultimately, you apologize. You recover. You're on the right track. Folks are going to look at you. We're going to be looking and watching. Seeing if it's consistent. Seeing if it's going to be another grift. But the problem with Flakko now is that the grift is over. The grifts are done. If he goes back to the far right leaning grift and the meat hugging of like Nick Fuentes and these folks and Donald Trump and the glazing of those folks, then folks are not going. They're going to have little to no patience with Flakko and be like, you're just grifting to be successful on this platform. What do you really stand for? But honestly, I think he is more on that pro-black push because he was in the Umar sector and then he turned out to call out Umar for his finessing. I don't know how to call it actually. He really is on probation and it's pending. We just got to continue to look. But right now as it stands, I support what he's doing on this platform, especially when it comes to calling out Officer Tatum and everything that's going on. I do not respect the cousin coming out and airing out personal family business that essentially has nothing directly to do with Flakko. He called out everyone attached to, and he's acting like he's not part of the family. I'm like, that's your cousin, your uncle, and your other cousins. So I'm like, you are kind of, I don't know, man. The clout, man. The clout in this business is nasty work. Shout out to Brother Jumbie in the chat. You haven't seen Brother Jumbie in the chat in a minute. Brother Jumbie's out here putting in this work, training up his fighters. Some deadly motherfuckers, man. Taco Padilla and Emmers, man, those guys are some savages. Shout out to Brother Jumbie. I seen Brother Jumbie also. Y'all gotta follow Brother Jumbie on IG. I seen him training Vic Mensa. Vic Mensa has his podcast coming out soon. He was on the Breakfast Club doing his thing. So yeah, shout out to Brother Jumpy. But yeah, back to Flacco's cousin. Bro's a weirdo, man. I'm sorry, man. That video, that was a weird ass video. I do not know why you're airing out your family. I know it seems like the opportune time because Flacco is getting cooked and called out by various YouTubers. It seems like every YouTuber is having their Flacco video right now. So it seemed like it was, but this is your family, bro. This is nasty, nasty work. I remember when Anton Daniels and his family, they have like that podcast where it's a group of them talking. I think it's like his brother-in-laws. Like I think it's his in-laws, not his direct family. But they called out Anton Daniels. They didn't air out any personal family business. They didn't like the way he spoke and his takes on certain matters and his anti-black cooning. They didn't like that. So they kept it straight content as like another content creator would do. They didn't bring out personal family information, things to disparage him. A lot of people, they were receptive to those folks. I can't remember the name. I think it was the What Up Though podcast. They were way more receptive to those folks because they were on some Building Black. They were challenging points like any other person in the media would challenge. Things that are on the airways, things that are attached to your digital footprint, not personal family fuckery. I'm pretty consistent with that. I've called out 50's son, called out, was it T.I.'s son? I called out everybody's family that went out there who we only know because you're famous family member, and you went out there to try to tear them down because you felt like you were jealous, you weren't getting equitably compensated, you think you deserve some sort of money because they're making money on the platform. It's just weird. I don't rock with those folks that do that. I've been pretty consistent with that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Yeah, man, so many coons, so little time. That's facts. Shout out to everybody that came out in the chat. We're wrapping this one up. I have several other topics that I got to cover. And I honestly got to catch up on some sleep because I can't blame this one on the Kush at all. We ain't doing that. I got to get some sleep. Shout out to y'all in the chat. We out. Yeah.